Beloved, I know the quiet weight you have been carrying concerning your work, your calling, your income, and the door that no longer feels the same. I know the heaviness that comes before you clock in, the silent sigh that leaves your spirit before anyone hears your voice, the strange grief that rises in a place you once prayed to enter. I know how confusing it feels when the very thing you once called an answered prayer now feels like a room where your peace is slowly fading. Nothing in your life is hidden from me. Not the thoughts you have in the parking lot, not the tears you swallow at your desk, not the questions you carry home when the day is over and your body is present, but your soul is still standing at a threshold, asking what this season means. I did not allow this uneasiness to rise in you so you would panic. I did not stir your heart so you would make a reckless decision in fear. I am calling you to listen before you move, to become still before you force what I am closing, and to become courageous before you run from what I am preparing. There are seasons when discomfort is not punishment. There are seasons when pressure is not failure. There are seasons when the door begins to feel narrow, because I am teaching your spirit to notice what your routine has been trying to ignore. You have asked, is this exhaustion, or is this warning? Is this frustration, or is this guidance? Is this desire to leave coming from my spirit, or is fear trying to make the decision for me? Beloved, I hear those questions. I hear them when you compare your income to your needs. I hear them when you wonder whether obedience will cost too much. I hear them when you are afraid to resign, afraid to stay, afraid to apply, afraid to accept, afraid to decline, afraid to be wrong. And I am not angry with your questions. I am drawing near to them. As written in Book of Proverbs, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Those words are not only for the altar, not only for the church aisle, not only for the crisis that everyone can see. They are for your workplace. They are for the interview. They are for the email you are afraid to send. They are for the resignation letter you keep drafting and deleting. They are for the opportunity that looks promising but does not give your spirit peace. They are for the door that glitters on the outside, yet feels troubled within. Do not force a door I am closing simply because you are afraid there will be no other provision. And do not run from a door I am preparing simply because fear has become loud in the hallway. Fear often speaks with urgency, but my voice carries peace. Fear says, decide now, or everything will collapse. My spirit says, be still, listen, and obey the light I have already given you. Fear demands control. My wisdom invites surrender. Fear imagines only loss. My guidance sees the appointed time, the hidden provision, the prepared room, and the next step before your feet arrive there. Remember Joseph. The prison door did not look like promotion, yet I was positioning him for a palace he could not yet see. Remember Ruth. The field looked ordinary, yet obedience placed her in the path of provision. Remember David. The wilderness looked like delay, yet it was shaping a king in secret, and so it is with you. What feels unsettled around your work door may not be random. It may be the first trembling of transition. It may be my hand loosening your attachment to what has served its time. It may be my mercy warning you not to build your future in a place where your spirit is no longer assigned. So today, do not treat your uneasiness as an enemy too quickly. Bring it before me. Ask me to reveal whether the pressure is forming you, warning you, or moving you. Ask me whether this career change is from my hand, or whether fear is trying to sit in the seat of discernment. Do not let panic become your prophet. Do not let exhaustion become your counselor. Do not let money alone become your master. I know what you need, and I know where I am leading you. And if this word is touching the hidden place of your work situation, if you know your soul has been standing before a door asking for guidance, then pause and let your agreement become visible. Like this video as an act of faith that you are not making this decision alone. Subscribe for more God-centered guidance in seasons of decision, because this is not the hour to walk by fear but by my voice. And write in the comments, Lord, guide my next work door. Let those words become a simple prayer before the deeper message begins. Beloved, the discomfort around your work door may be my invitation to listen before you move. I am not leaving you confused at the threshold. I am teaching you to discern the door. Beloved, I did not allow this door to shift because I forgot your needs. I did not allow the opportunity to slow down because I became careless with your provision. I did not permit the interview to fall silent, the promotion to pass by, the contract to close, or the workplace to become uncomfortable because I delight in your disappointment. I allowed it because I see what you cannot yet see. I see the conversations behind the door. I see the character of the people connected to the offer. I see the weight that would have rested upon your spirit 6 months from now. I see the hidden compromise that would have slowly asked you to trade your peace for approval, your calling for convenience, your obedience for survival. Do not call every closed door rejection when sometimes it is my mercy standing guard before your future. Do not call every delay punishment when sometimes it is my hand holding you back from a path that would have drained the oil from your lamp. There are work doors that look impressive from a distance, yet behind them there is striving without grace, increase without rest, opportunity without alignment, and promotion that would pull your heart away from me. There are rooms where your name could be celebrated, but your soul would become dry. There are partnerships that would open quickly, but wound slowly. There are positions that would give you more money, but steal your prayer. There are tables that would invite you to sit, yet ask you to silence the very light I placed within you. As written in Revelation, he that openeth, and no man shutteth, and shutteth, and no man openeth. Beloved, those words are not only for heavenly mysteries beyond your understanding, they are also for the doors you are standing before now. They are for jobs, they are for interviews, they are for contracts, they are for promotions, they are for workplaces, they are for career opportunities that look possible in the natural, but troubled in the spirit. When I open a door, no person can truly shut what I have ordained for you. And when I shut a door, no amount of forcing, pleading, performing, flattering, manipulating, or striving will make that door safe for your soul. This is why I am warning you tenderly. Do not force access where my peace has already lifted. Do not keep pushing your way into a room just because you are afraid there will be no other room. Do not become someone you are not in order to be chosen by people I never assigned to carry your future. Do not let desperation teach you to ignore discernment. Do not let panic make you accept what your spirit has already recognized as unstable. I am not asking you to despise work. I am not asking you to run from responsibility. I am asking you to stop bowing to fear when I have already begun to protect you. What looks like rejection may be redirection. What feels like delay may be mercy. What seems like loss may be my hand removing what would have wounded you later. You are looking at the closed door from the hallway of disappointment, but I am looking at it from the end of the road. You see the email that did not come. I see the burden you would not have been meant to carry. You see the person who did not choose you. I see the environment that would have slowly trained you to abandon your peace. You see the paycheck. I see the cost beneath it. You see the title. I see the toll. You see the open chair. I see whether grace is sitting there with you. Remember David. He was anointed long before he sat on the throne, yet I did not allow him to seize the door through manipulation. Remember Joseph. What men meant as rejection, I used as positioning. Remember Paul, when the Spirit suffered him not to go into certain places, though he carried a holy calling. Even a good desire must bow to divine direction. Even a useful opportunity must be tested by peace. Even an open path must be measured by whether my presence is leading you through it. So today, if a work door has closed, do not let shame write the meaning of it. Bring the disappointment to me. Bring the confusion to me. Bring the fear of lack to me. I know your bills. I know your responsibilities. I know the people depending on you. I know the pressure you feel when provision and purpose seem to stand on opposite sides of the same door. But I am not careless with those who trust me. I am not late in providing for those I am leading. I am not closing one door without knowing where the next step will be found. Yet listen deeply, beloved. Not every difficult workplace is a closed door. Not every resistance is redirection. Not every pressure means leave, and not every struggle means stay. Some pressure is forming you. Some pressure is warning you. Some pressure is moving you. This is why you must not only ask me to open doors, you must ask me to teach you discernment. For the next part of your obedience will require you to know the difference between a door I am closing for protection and a hard place I am using for preparation. Beloved, the pressure you feel is not always proof that you are in the wrong place, but when pressure begins to steal your obedience, your peace, and your nearness to me, listen deeply. Do not measure the will of God only by how easy a room feels, because there are places I assign you that will stretch what is weak, reveal what is unfinished, and call forth discipline you did not know was sleeping inside you. There is a holy pressure that does not destroy you, but strengthens you. There is a pressure that teaches your hands to be steady, your tongue to be wise, your heart to be humble, and your spirit to lean upon me, instead of leaning upon applause, comfort, or control. I did not promise that every open door would feel effortless. I did not say that every assignment would be wrapped in ease. I did not call you to run from every place that requires growth. Sometimes the place you call difficult is the very place where I am building capacity. Sometimes the task that feels heavy is teaching your soul endurance. Sometimes the responsibility that makes you pray more than before is not a sign that you must flee, but a sign that I am enlarging you for what is next. As written in Book of James, let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. There are works of patience that cannot be completed in comfort. There are roots that grow deeper because the wind has pushed against the tree. But listen, my child, because not all pressure is holy. There is a pressure that produces humility, and there is a pressure that produces spiritual numbness. There is a pressure that leads you to prayer, and there is a pressure that slowly makes you too weary to pray. There is a pressure that matures discipline, and there is a pressure that demands compromise. There is a pressure that teaches endurance, and there is a pressure that keeps tearing down the peace I have placed within you. Discernment is not asking only, is this hard? Discernment is asking, what is this hardship producing in me? Is it drawing me nearer to my voice, or is it training you to ignore me? Is it forming Christ-like patience, or is it requiring you to disobey what I have already shown you? When pressure is holy, even if it is uncomfortable, there remains a quiet grace beneath it. You may feel stretched, but you are not severed from peace. You may feel challenged, but your spirit is still able to bow before me. You may feel tired, but your conscience is not being violated. You may have to learn, adjust, endure, forgive, communicate, and grow, but you are not being asked to betray your obedience. Holy pressure may bring tears, but it also brings refinement. Holy pressure may expose pride, but it also invites surrender. Holy pressure may reveal immaturity, but it does not require you to abandon the light I gave you. Warning pressure feels different. It repeats itself with a heaviness that does not lift, even after prayer, counsel, rest, and honest effort. It pulls your heart into confusion again and again. It asks you to normalize what grieves my spirit. It surrounds you with opportunities that require silence where truth is needed, performance where integrity is needed, fear where faith is needed, and compromise where obedience is needed. Warning pressure does not merely stretch your capacity. It begins to consume your clarity. It does not merely ask you to grow. It asks you to become someone I did not call you to be. Do not ignore repeated closed confirmation. Do not keep asking me to bless what I am quietly troubling in your spirit. When peace lifts again and again, when wise counsel confirms what you have been afraid to admit, when the same warning returns in prayer, when the door looks open but your spirit feels restrained, do not call that confusion. Sometimes it is mercy. Sometimes it is my hand on your shoulder before your feet step too far. Sometimes it is the still small voice saying, wait, not this way, not this room, not under this spirit, not by this method, not at the cost of your nearness to me. Remember Joseph. Prison was pressure, but it was also preparation. The iron entered his soul, yet it did not erase his calling. The delay did not mean I had forgotten him. The confinement did not mean the dream had died. In the very place that seemed to bury him, I was refining his wisdom, guarding his character, arranging divine connections, and preparing the appointed time when Pharaoh would send for him. The same door that looked like a delay became part of the path to his elevation. But Joseph did not let prison make him bitter against me. He kept serving, he kept interpreting, he kept remaining faithful in the hidden place. And when the appointed time came, the door opened quickly, because the preparation had already done its work. And so it is with you. Do not confuse temporary stretching with permanent captivity. Do not call every hard assignment a prison, and do not call every prison preparation without asking me for discernment. Some places are difficult because I am strengthening you there. Some places are difficult because your time there is ending. Some places are uncomfortable because your flesh is being disciplined. Some places are uncomfortable because your spirit is being warned. This is why you must not let emotion alone lead you. This is why you must not let fear of change pretend to be my voice. Fear will say, stay, because you could fail if you move. Fear will also say, leave now, because you cannot bear another day. But my voice will lead you in peace, wisdom, surrender, and truth. So today, bring the pressure to me before you give it a name. Do not let panic label it. Do not let resentment interpret it. Do not let exhaustion decide what only discernment can reveal. Ask me, is this forming me? Is this warning me? Is this moving me? Ask me to show you whether the door is still carrying grace, or whether the grace for that assignment is lifting. Ask me to reveal whether your struggle is the labor of growth or the alarm of protection. I am not hiding wisdom from you. I am teaching you to walk closely enough to hear it. And remember this, beloved. I do not always give confirmation as a full map laid out from beginning to end. Many times I give it as enough light for the next faithful step, a repeated scripture, a settled peace after prayer, a counsel that agrees with what I have already whispered, a restraint that protects you from rushing, a door that remains open without manipulation, a door that closes without destroying your provision, a quiet knowing that grows stronger when you surrender instead of stronger when you strive. Confirmation often comes gradually, like dawn spreading across the sky, not all at once, but surely enough for you to see where your foot must land next. I do not always confirm by thunder, beloved. I do not always answer with a sudden sign so dramatic that every question in your mind disappears at once. Sometimes I confirm by removing the peace from what you were trying to keep and placing quiet strength around what you were afraid to consider. Sometimes I confirm by letting the same word return again and again, through prayer, through scripture, through counsel, through the burden that will not leave even after you have tried to dismiss it. Sometimes I confirm by allowing an opportunity to close without destroying you, so you can see that the door was not your source. Sometimes I confirm by sending unexpected provision, not enough to feed fear, but enough to remind you that I am already ahead of you. Do not despise gentle confirmation because it did not arrive in the form you expected. You have asked me to make the work door clear, but sometimes clarity comes as peace, not volume. Sometimes it comes as holy restraint. Sometimes it comes as a quiet no that will not let your spirit settle, even when your mind has argued all the reasons why the opportunity should make sense. Sometimes it comes as a quiet yes that remains steady, even when your circumstances still require wisdom, planning, patience, and courage. My confirmation does not always remove every question, but it gives enough peace to obey the next step. As written in the book of Proverbs, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Beloved, do not leave your resume outside of that promise. Do not leave your interview outside of that promise. Do not leave your resignation letter, your business decision, your career pivot, your return to school, your contract, your application, your decline, your acceptance, or your next conversation outside of that promise. Acknowledge me in all thy ways, not only in the ways that feel spiritual to others. Acknowledge me before you send the message. Acknowledge me before you say yes. Acknowledge me before you walk away. Acknowledge me before you build something new. Acknowledge me before you assume the open door is mine, simply because it is open. There are doors that open because I have prepared them, and there are doors that open because your ambition kept knocking after my peace had already withdrawn. There are doors that close because the enemy resisted your assignment, and there are doors that close because I am shielding your future. This is why you must not idolize signs while ignoring character, preparation, and obedience. Do not ask for a sign while refusing to forgive. Do not ask for confirmation while ignoring the instruction I already gave you concerning honesty, humility, diligence, patience, stewardship, and integrity. Do not chase prophetic words while refusing practical wisdom. Do not demand that heaven confirm a shortcut when I have been forming you through faithfulness in the hidden place. Remember Gideon. I was patient with his questions, yet the sign was not meant to replace obedience. Remember Abraham. He did not know every detail of the land before he obeyed the voice that called him forward. Remember Peter. He stepped out upon the water not because the storm had disappeared, but because my word was strong enough to hold him in the storm, and so it is with you. Confirmation is not always the absence of uncertainty. Confirmation is the presence of my peace in the place where obedience is required. It is the inward steadiness that remains when fear has finished speaking. It is the quiet strength that rises when you stop trying to control every outcome and begin trusting the one who directs your path. Fear rushes, "Beloved, but I lead." Fear says, "Escape now, or you will never survive." Fear says, "Accept now, or nothing better will come." Fear says, "Decline now, because you might be stretched." Fear says, "Stay forever, because what if the next door fails?" Fear says, "Move before you pray long enough to hear." Fear says, "Wait even after I have already spoken, because obedience feels dangerous." But my voice establishes timing, order, wisdom, and inward steadiness. My voice does not drive you into chaos and call it faith. My voice does not demand haste while stripping you of peace. My voice may call you into something uncomfortable, but it will not require you to be led by panic. Look for the pattern of my confirmation, a scripture that keeps returning with fresh weight, a counsel from the wise that agrees with what I have been whispering, a repeated conviction that grows clearer after surrender, not stronger only when you are afraid, a burden that remains after rest, after prayer, after honest examination, after you have laid your preference before me, a door that closes and reveals protection, a door that opens and carries peace without manipulation, provision that appears at the right moment, restraint that keeps you from sending the email too soon, grace to prepare before the public move, courage that is not loud but steady. These are not small things. These are lamps along the path. Do not be angry with gradual light. Dawn does not apologize because it arrives by increasing brightness. A seed does not apologize because it grows beneath the soil before it breaks the surface. A door does not become less divine because I teach you to approach it in steps. You may want the whole map, but I am teaching you trust. You may want every detail, but I am teaching you dependence. You may want certainty that costs you nothing, but I am forming obedience that can walk with me even while the next mile is still unfolding. So today, do not force confirmation, and do not ignore it. Do not manufacture peace around what I am troubling. Do not call fear wisdom just because it speaks in practical language. Do not call delay denial when I am arranging timing, provision, counsel, and preparation. Bring the door before me again with open hands. Say, "Lord, if this is mine, establish it in peace. If it is not mine, remove my attachment. If I am rushing, restrain me. If I am hiding, strengthen me. If I am afraid, teach me to trust." And listen deeply, beloved. If I am shifting the door, I will also deal with the fear that makes obedience feel dangerous. I will not only show you where to move, I will heal what trembles when I call you forward. I will not only confirm the path, I will steady the heart that must walk it. My confirmation may come gradually, but it will come clearly enough for the next faithful step. I am not asking you to leap into confusion. I am asking you to follow the peace I have placed before your feet. Beloved, do not let fear dress itself in the garments of wisdom and then sit quietly in the place where faith belongs. Fear does not always sound like trembling. Sometimes fear sounds organized. Sometimes fear sounds responsible. Sometimes fear says, "I am only being careful," when truly it is refusing to trust me with the next step. Sometimes fear says, "Stay where you are," not because I have given peace there, but because insecurity has convinced you that no other door could ever open for you. Sometimes fear says, "Reject that opportunity," not because it lacks my presence, but because it feels unfamiliar, and your heart has learned to call the unknown dangerous. Sometimes fear calls procrastination patience. Sometimes fear calls panic spiritual urgency. And sometimes fear uses the language of practicality while quietly building a prison around your obedience. I know your practical concerns, my child. I know the bills that must be paid, the family that depends on you, the health insurance you cannot treat lightly, the age that makes you wonder whether it is too late, the qualifications you think you do not have, the failures that still whisper from behind you, and the fear of starting again when you thought by now you would be further along. I am not blind to any of this. I do not ask you to pretend the responsibilities are not real. I do not ask you to move recklessly, beloved. I ask you to stop letting fear sit on the throne where faith belongs. I ask you to bring every real concern under my lordship, so wisdom can speak without fear pretending to be wisdom. As written in the second epistle to Timothy, God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. Do you hear this, beloved? I have not given you the spirit of fear. I have not given you the torment that imagines only disaster. I have not given you the confusion that makes every door feel unsafe. I have not given you the panic that demands a decision before peace has finished speaking. I have given power, not pride. I have given love, not selfish ambition. I have given a sound mind, not emotional exhaustion disguised as discernment. So do not confuse faith with impulsiveness. Divine timing does not mean you abandon wisdom. Divine timing includes preparation, wise planning, humility, counsel, surrender, and the quiet discipline of taking the next right step without needing to control the whole road. There are times when I will tell you to wait, not because fear is right, but because preparation is still holy. There are times when I will tell you to move, not because pressure is loud, but because grace has already lifted from the old place. There are times when I will tell you to update the resume, have the conversation, seek counsel, count the cost, save what can be saved, learn what must be learned, and prepare your hands for the door your spirit has already begun to sense. But listen deeply. Preparation is not the same as hiding. Waiting is not the same as refusing. Counsel is not the same as asking until someone agrees with your fear. A sound mind does not mean you will never feel nervous. It means fear will not be your master. It means your decision will be surrendered, sober, prayerful, and anchored in my peace. It means you will not stay only because you feel small, and you will not leave only because you feel tired. You will not accept only because you are desperate, and you will not decline only because you are afraid to grow. So today, you may not yet need to quit. You may not yet need to sign. You may not yet need to relocate, launch, resign, return, accept, or decline. But you do need to surrender the decision completely to me. Lay the door before me without clutching it. Lay the fear before me without obeying it. Lay the timeline before me without worshiping it. Say, Lord, I want your will more than my comfort, your peace more than my control, your timing more than my urgency. And as you surrender, I will separate fear from wisdom, pressure from guidance, and panic from holy instruction. I will lead you with peace, wisdom, and surrender. I will not leave you ruled by fear at the threshold. Beloved, the door may be shifting now because the hidden season has done its work in you. Do not look back at the long hours and call them wasted. Do not look back at the overlooked effort, the assignments no one thanked you for, the difficult supervisors, the unfair treatment, the moments when you carried excellence in silence, while others received attention and believe heaven was absent from those rooms. I was there. I saw the early mornings when your body was tired but your spirit still chose faithfulness. I saw the late nights when you wondered if anyone understood the weight you were carrying. I saw the restraint you practiced when your flesh wanted to answer harshly. I saw the integrity you kept when compromise would have been easier. I saw the quiet excellence that had no audience but me. Nothing was wasted. Not the pressure, not the repetition, not the discipline, not the humility, not even the tears you wiped away before walking back into the room. What you called survival, I was using as formation. What you called being overlooked, I was using as concealment. What you called a small place, I was using as soil. Sacred things always grow in hidden depths before they rise to the surface. A seed does not become a tree by being admired in the open air. It is first buried where no one applauds it, where no one can see the roots reaching downward, where the darkness feels like silence but is actually the place where life is beginning to take shape. And so it has been with you. I have been growing roots beneath the surface of your work life. I have been developing skill when you thought you were only repeating tasks. I have been developing patience when you thought you were only enduring delay. I have been developing humility when you thought you were only being ignored. I have been developing spiritual authority when you chose righteousness in rooms where no one would have blamed you for becoming bitter. Beloved, there are certain doors I do not open until the roots are strong enough to hold the fruit. There are certain rooms I do not bring you into until your inner life has been strengthened enough not to bow before approval, money, title, or fear. Remember David. The field was not beneath him. The sheep were not a waste of his anointing. The lonely hillside was not proof that I had forgotten the oil poured upon his head. It was in the field that courage was formed before Goliath ever stood before him. It was in the field that worship was born before the palace ever heard his song. It was in the field that his hands learned faithfulness, his heart learned trust, and his spirit learned to depend upon me when no crown was visible. The palace door opened later, but the man who could stand there was shaped in the hidden place. The public victory was rooted in private obedience. Do you see now, my child? The season you wanted to escape quickly may have been the very place where I was preparing you for what is next. The work that felt beneath you may have trained your hands. The people who did not honor you may have taught you not to live for human praise. The unfairness that grieved you may have purified your motives. The delays that frustrated you may have saved you from arriving before your character was ready to carry the weight of a new door. I did not keep you hidden because you were unworthy. I kept you hidden because roots matter. I kept you hidden because capacity must grow before visibility increases. And now, if the door is shifting, it is not always because you failed the assignment. Sometimes it is because you have outgrown it. Sometimes grace lifts from an old place because the lesson has been completed. Sometimes the restlessness in your spirit is not rebellion, but recognition. You are sensing that yesterday's room can no longer carry tomorrow's calling. You are sensing that the old structure, the old rhythm, the old measure, the old assignment that once trained you may now begin to confine what I have matured within you. Do not curse the old place. It served its purpose. Do not despise the season that formed you. Bless it, release it, and listen for my voice. But understand this, beloved. Promotion in my kingdom is not always a higher title, a larger office, a louder platform, or more money in your hands. Sometimes promotion is greater alignment. Sometimes promotion is healthier rhythms. Sometimes promotion is cleaner peace. Sometimes promotion is a place where your gifts can serve without your soul being destroyed. Sometimes promotion looks like leaving a room where you were constantly drained and entering a room where obedience can breathe. Sometimes it looks like less applause but more peace, less striving but more fruit, less performance but deeper purpose. Do not measure the new door only by how impressive it appears to others. Measure it by whether my presence is leading you there. As written in Book of Psalms, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Ordered steps are not always dramatic steps. Ordered steps are surrendered steps. Ordered steps may look like preparing quietly, applying faithfully, learning humbly, asking wisely, waiting patiently, or walking away peacefully when I release you. I am not shifting your door to satisfy ambition. I am shifting your door to bring your life into alignment with the work I have been doing within you. So today, do not mourn as though everything behind you was meaningless. Gather the wisdom, gather the endurance, gather the humility, gather the skill, gather the spiritual strength that was formed in hidden places. What you learned there is coming with you, but the place itself may not be able to hold you anymore. When capacity changes, obedience must change also. Yesterday's assignment cannot always carry tomorrow's calling, and when I begin to move the door, do not cling to the threshold only because it is familiar. Trust that the same hand that trained you in secret knows how to lead you into the appointed time. Beloved, the right door still requires the right timing. Do not think that because I am shifting the door, you must run before I have spoken. And do not think that because the old place is familiar, you may remain after my grace has lifted. There is a holy pace in obedience. There is a movement that belongs to peace, and there is a movement that belongs to panic. There is a waiting that belongs to wisdom, and there is a waiting that belongs to fear. This is why I am teaching you not only to recognize the door, but to recognize the hour. Do not stand at a door that is closing with both hands wrapped around the handle, begging it to become what it no longer has grace to be. And do not stand outside an open door because the new room feels unfamiliar. Some of you have been praying for me to open a way, but when I began to loosen your attachment to the old place, fear called it instability. Some of you have been asking for direction, but when I began to trouble your comfort, you called it confusion. Some of you have been asking for promotion, alignment, peace, and purpose. But when the threshold appeared, your heart began to tremble because the new season required a version of you that could no longer hide behind old routines. As written in the book of Ecclesiastes, To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Hear this deeply, my child. A season has a beginning, and a season has an ending. A purpose has an appointed time. Even what is good in one season can become disobedience if you cling to it beyond its assignment. The manna that fed Israel in the wilderness was provision, but it was not meant to continue in the same way once they entered the land. The cloud that led by day and the fire that led by night moved when it was time to move, and rested when it was time to rest. The wisdom was not in loving movement more than stillness, or stillness more than movement. The wisdom was in following me. I know the narrow path you are walking. On one side, pressure tries to push you faster than peace. On the other side, comfort tries to hold you longer than obedience. Pressure says, decide now, before you lose everything. Comfort says, stay where you are, because at least this pain is familiar. Pressure makes you feel as though delay will destroy you. Comfort makes you feel as though obedience will expose you. But my peace does not sound like either one. My peace may be firm, but it is not frantic. My peace may be quiet, but it is not passive. My peace will not always remove the trembling from your hands, but it will steady the altar of your heart. Do not let urgency become your master. Do not let delay become your hiding place. If I have not released you, do not rip open the door with your own strength. If I have released you, do not keep asking for signs simply because obedience feels costly. There are moments when waiting is worship, and there are moments when waiting becomes resistance. There are moments when moving is faith, and there are moments when moving is only fear, wearing the name of boldness. This is why you must walk with me closely. This is why the pace of your obedience must be the pace of my peace. Remember the people of Israel at the Red Sea. Before them was water, behind them was the army, and around them was the sound of impossibility. Panic could have made them scatter. Fear could have made them return to bondage. But at the appointed time, I gave movement. I said, speak unto the children of Israel, that they go forward. The waters did not open because they controlled the moment. The waters opened because obedience met the word I had spoken. And remember also the Jordan. The priests had to carry the ark toward the water, and the waters responded when their feet stepped in at the appointed time, not before, not after, at the time I had chosen. And so it is with you. The door is not only about location, it is about timing, it is about posture. It is about whether your movement is surrendered or driven, whether your waiting is faithful or fearful, whether your hands are open or grasping, whether your heart is listening or merely reacting. I am not asking you to be careless with your responsibilities. I am not asking you to despise planning, counsel, preparation, or order. I am asking you to let every practical step bow before my voice. I am asking you not to make fear your calendar and not to make comfort your compass. Before you move outwardly, become still enough inwardly to recognize the shepherd's voice. Let the noise settle. Let the panic quiet. Let the opinions of others take their proper place beneath my wisdom. Let your desire for certainty surrender to my presence. I lead my sheep, and they know my voice. I do not drive them like strangers. I call them by name. I go before them. I know when the field has finished its work. I know when the wilderness has completed its lesson. I know when the river must part. I know when the door must close. I know when the door must open. So today, do not move ahead of me, and do not stay behind me. If I say wait, wait with faith, and prepare your hands. If I say move, move with peace, and do not keep bowing to the fear of the unfamiliar. If I close the door, release the handle. If I open the door, do not stand outside rehearsing every reason you are not ready. The same hand that formed you in secret will guide you at the threshold. The same voice that kept you through the hidden season will lead you into the appointed time. Walk at the pace of my peace, beloved, and you will not miss the door I have prepared. Beloved, before you resign, listen. Before you apply, listen. Before you accept the offer that appears to answer every anxious question, listen. Before you decline the opportunity simply because it stretches you beyond the shape of your former season, listen. Before you return to an old door because the new path feels uncertain, listen. Before you start the business, change direction, step away, come back, sign the paper, send the message, or speak words that cannot easily be gathered again. Become quiet enough to hear me. I am not trying to make your life more complicated. I am trying to keep your next step from being born out of panic, pride, exhaustion, bitterness, or fear. Do not make a permanent decision from a temporary storm. Do not resign only because your emotions are loud today. Do not stay only because fear has convinced you that provision cannot reach you anywhere else. Do not accept only because the number is higher if your peace is lower. Do not decline only because the door requires courage. Do not return only because the wilderness between seasons feels unfamiliar. I know the pressure around you. I know the deadlines, the bills, the family needs, the conversations that must happen, the responsibilities tied to your obedience, and the people who will be affected by your next move. I am not confused by practical details, my child. I am Lord over the calling and Lord over the calendar. I am Lord over the dream and Lord over the rent. I am Lord over the vision and Lord over the daily bread. As written in the book of James, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally. Beloved, ask me for wisdom before you ask everyone else, for permission to obey or an excuse to delay. Ask me whether this move draws you closer to obedience or only farther from discomfort. Ask me whether peace is guarding the path or whether you are trying to decorate fear with spiritual language. Ask me whether this door honors the responsibilities I have placed in your hands, whether it aligns with the gifts I have been developing in secret, whether it agrees with wise counsel, whether it requires compromise that will grieve your spirit, whether it strengthens your obedience or only flatters your ambition. Do not turn these questions into a cold list. Bring them before me like offerings. Let your heart be searched. Let your motives be purified. Let your desire for escape become surrender. I do not lead you by confusion. I may lead you through uncertainty, but I do not lead you by chaos. I may ask you to take a step before you see the whole road, but I will not ask you to abandon integrity in order to reach the promise. If the door requires you to become dishonest, it is not my door. If the offer asks you to betray your conscience, it is not my favor. If the opportunity feeds your ego while starving your soul, do not call it blessing too quickly. And if the new step humbles you, stretches you, requires preparation, and still carries a deep, quiet witness of peace, do not reject it only because it does not look like the picture you imagined. Remember Israel in the wilderness. When the way became hard, their hearts looked back to Egypt and called bondage familiar provision. They remembered the food, but forgot the chains. They remembered the structure, but forgot the slavery. And so it can be with you when the new season feels unfinished. You may be tempted to return to an old work door, not because I am sending you back, but because uncertainty has made the former pain seem safer than present faith. Be careful, beloved. Do not romanticize what I delivered you from, because the path ahead requires trust. Do not call Egypt stability when I have already begun leading you toward promise. There are doors behind you that should be blessed and released, not reopened out of fear. Yet hear me with tenderness. Not every return is disobedience. Sometimes I may send you back with healing, wisdom, humility, and a new assignment. Sometimes an old place becomes new because your heart is changed and my purpose has appointed a return. But do not go back because you are afraid to go forward. Do not go back because the wilderness is uncomfortable. Do not go back because you miss what was predictable, even if it was slowly draining the life from you. Let my voice, not nostalgia, decide. Let peace, not panic, lead. So today, take the small, faithful step that belongs to this hour. Update the resume without making it an idol. Pray over the application before you send it. Ask wise counsel, not merely those who will echo your fear or flatter your desire. Prepare your finances with humility. Count the cost without bowing to dread. Finish the current assignment with integrity, even if I am preparing to release you from it. Do not poison your ending with bitterness. Do not leave a place in rebellion and then ask me to bless what resentment built. Complete what must be completed. Apologize where humility is needed. Release the offense that keeps tying your soul to the room you are trying to leave. Gather your documents. Strengthen your skill. Rest when you are weary. Wait when I say wait. Move when I say move. I can guide you through the ordinary steps as surely as I guide through visions and dreams. I am with you in the interview. I am with you in the email. I am with you in the budget. I am with you in the quiet conversation with your spouse, your family, your mentor, your supervisor, your own trembling heart. Nothing about your work life is too practical for my presence. The same God who numbers the stars also notices the meeting on your calendar. The same God who opens the sea also knows the date your notice would need to be given. The same God who feeds the birds also knows what provision your household needs. And now listen deeply. Your next move must come from surrender, not striving. It must come from confirmation, not pressure. It must come from my voice, not emotional noise. If your hands are clenched, open them. If your heart is racing, bring it near to me. If you are trying to force a door, release the handle. If you are hiding from a door I have confirmed, let courage rise again. I am not asking you to figure out your whole future in one moment. I am asking you to walk with me in the next obedient step. Bring me the resignation. Bring me the application. Bring me the offer. Bring me the decline. Bring me the old door. Bring me the new dream. Bring me the fear beneath it all. And I will teach you how to move from peace, not panic. From obedience, not striving. From my appointed word, not the noise of the hour. Beloved, your work is becoming a lamp, not just a paycheck. I know you have looked at the door through the eyes of provision, and provision matters to me. I know the needs of your household. I know the bills that arrive whether your heart feels strong or weary. I know the responsibility you carry when others depend upon your faithfulness. But do not reduce this work door only to money, title, schedule, promotion, or escape. I am not only concerned with where you work. I am concerned with who you are becoming there, and whose life will be touched because you obeyed me. There are people connected to your next season who need more than your skill. They need the wisdom formed in your pressure. They need the gentleness formed in your waiting. They need the compassion that came from the wounds I healed in secret. They need the patience you learned when no one saw your effort. They need the testimony that says, I was afraid, but God led me. I was overlooked, but God kept me. I was uncertain, but God ordered my steps. You may think you are only moving into another office, another department, another classroom, another business, another hospital, another ministry, another home assignment, another hidden place of service. But I see the souls who will meet a different kind of light because you are there. As spoken in the Gospel of Matthew, ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on an hill cannot be hid. Do you hear this, my child? That word is not only for pulpits and sanctuaries. It is for the meeting room where discouragement has become normal. It is for the classroom where a child feels invisible. It is for the hospital hallway where fear walks quietly beside families. It is for the business where integrity has been treated as weakness. It is for the kitchen table where you serve without applause. It is for the small task, the repeated task, the unseen task, the assignment that looks ordinary to others but becomes sacred when surrendered to me. Do not despise ordinary work. Joseph served in a prison before he stood before Pharaoh. Ruth gathered in a field before covenant, and provision opened before her. David kept sheep before he carried a crown. Esther was placed in a palace for an appointed time, but courage was required before influence became obedience. Ordinary places are not empty places when my presence is there. A desk can become an altar of integrity. A uniform can become a garment of service. A phone call can become mercy. A report can become excellence. A quiet yes can become a lamp that helps another soul endure one more day. This is why I may be shifting the door, not only because you need a change, but because others need what I have placed in you. Not only because one season is ended, but because the fruit of that season must now be carried somewhere else. The kindness you refused to lose, the excellence you kept when no one praised you, the courage you practiced with trembling hands, the mercy you learned through your own brokenness. All of it can become light in a room where someone else is close to giving up. So today, do not chase every door. Do not fear every closed door. Do not worship any work door, as though your life is held by a company, a position, a paycheck, a person, or a plan. Follow the one who holds the door. Follow the one who knows the room before you enter it. Follow the one who can provide and also position you, protect you, and also send you. Close what would drain you, and open what will align you. Your career shift is not only about provision, it is about alignment. It is about witness. It is about calling. And as you surrender the next move to me, your life will not merely earn bread, it will carry light. Beloved, place before me the offer, the resignation, the interview, the workplace, the business idea, the application, the contract, the schedule, the supervisor, the coworker, the fear, and the question you have carried in silence. Bring me the door you are afraid to lose. Bring me the door you are afraid to enter. Bring me the plan you have rehearsed in the quiet places of your heart. Bring me the disappointment you did not know how to explain. Bring me the hope that still trembles in your hands. I am not asking you to hide the weight of this decision from me. I am asking you to surrender it fully, until your next move is no longer controlled by panic, pressure, pride, or the fear of being without provision. So now, let your heart pray before me. Father, guide me through the work door that belongs to your will. Teach me to discern the difference between fear and confirmation, between pressure that is forming me and pressure that is warning me, between delay that is preparing me and delay that is only my own resistance, between a closed door you are using to protect me and an appointed door you are calling me to enter. Let me not confuse discomfort with disobedience, and let me not confuse familiarity with safety. Let my spirit become sensitive to your peace. Let my ears hear your voice above the noise of urgency. Let my heart become still enough to recognize when you are saying wait, when you are saying move, when you are saying release, and when you are saying trust me here. I declare over you, my child, that you will not force a door I am closing. You will not bargain with what I have already removed. You will not keep knocking on a threshold where grace has lifted only because your fear does not yet understand my protection. I declare that manipulative opportunities will be exposed, that flattering offers without peace will lose their power over you, that premature moves will be restrained by my mercy, and that fear-based decisions will not rule your steps. Financial panic will not become your shepherd. Anxiety will not become your prophet. Exhaustion will not become your counselor. And you will not return to places I have released you from simply because the path ahead requires faith. As written in the book of Philippians, the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Let that peace guard your resume. Let that peace guard your interviews. Let that peace guard your conversations with supervisors and co-workers. Let that peace guard every application you send, every contract you review, every business idea you test, every schedule you consider, every income question you carry, every family responsibility that weighs upon your mind, and every hidden worry about provision that wakes you in the night. I know what you need before you ask. I know the numbers. I know the dates. I know the obligations. I know the people depending on you. I know the fear that whispers, what if obedience costs too much? But I am the God who provides in the wilderness, the God who opens rivers in dry places, the God who sends ravens, multiplies oil, orders steps, and prepares tables where human logic sees no room. Remember Abraham, who went out not knowing whither he went, yet he followed the voice that called him. Remember Ruth, who left what was familiar and found provision in the field I had already appointed. Remember Joseph, whose closed doors could not cancel the dream I had spoken over his life. Remember Peter, who stepped onto the water not because the storm was silent, but because my voice was greater than the waves. And remember this also, beloved. Faith is not recklessness. Faith is not forcing a door and calling it courage. Faith is not refusing counsel and calling it boldness. Faith is surrender that listens, obedience that waits for peace, and movement that follows my word at the appointed time. So pray this from the depth of your spirit. Lord, I surrender my work door to you. I surrender my timing, my fear, my ambition, my disappointment, my desire to escape, my desire to be seen, my need to understand everything before I obey. Search my motives, cleanse my plans, protect me from every opportunity that would pull me away from your presence. Close what would wound me, interrupt what would deceive me, delay what I am not ready to carry, open what is aligned with your will. And when you open it, give me courage to enter with humility, wisdom, and peace. And now declare it, my child, not as empty words, but as an altar of surrender before me. I will not force what God is closing. I will not fear what God is opening. I will not move from panic, pride, pressure, or financial dread. I will listen for the voice of the shepherd. I will honor wise timing. I will prepare faithfully while I wait. I will obey when peace confirms the next step. I will not return to bondage because the wilderness feels uncertain. I will not reject an appointed door because it stretches me. My work belongs to God. My provision belongs to God. My future belongs to God. I will move only with His peace. Beloved, the safest career move is the one surrendered to my voice, my peace, and my appointed time. So leave the declaration in the comments as a sign of surrender. I will not force what God is closing. I will not fear what God is opening, and I will move only with His peace. Write your prayer request for your work situation, because there are others standing in faith with you. Share this message with someone standing at a career crossroad, someone who needs peace before they resign, apply, accept, decline, or return. Subscribe for more messages of guidance, and like this video if today you are choosing to wait for my confirmation before you move. Walk at the pace of my peace, beloved. I am guiding the door, I am guarding the timing, and I will not leave you without light.